You know, the game is in prime time on Saturday. You're inviting some friends over. Well, what are you going to serve? Beer cheese soup is on the menu, I think. Carl Sanderfoot is here from New York Deli. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a sandwich place in Grand Chute near the Fox River Mall.
Correct.
But every time we call him up, he's like, oh, I can do so much more than sandwiches. So you've decided on a beer cheese soup.
Well, Wisconsin, of course, beer cheese. It's kind of straightforward.
Perfect. Okay, and it smells so good in here. You have a special name for it, and that's because of the beer you chose.
Right. We're actually calling it Pie-Eyed Pale Ale and Cheese Soup. We're using the Stone Cellar Brew Pub's Pie-Eyed India Pale Ale. It's a local brew pub in Appleton that makes some delicious beers.
I love that idea. Okay, how do we get started?
All right. First off, we started with half a cup of butter. We just melted that down. Added
That's why my diet is over. Okay.
Celery, onions, and carrots to that.
And you call that a?
Mirepoix.
Okay.
And then we added flour to that, which makes a roux, and that'll thicken our soup. And then we let that cook for about 5 minutes to get the starchy flavor out of the flour.
Okay.
And then after that's in there, we're going to add 2 cups of chicken broth.
All right.
A bottle.
The beer, of course.
A bottle.
A whole bottle.
Whole bottle.
So you want to taste it. You say this has a hoppy flavor to it?
Yep. Pale ales tend to have a little bit more bitter, hoppy flavor to them.
Okay.
But
so a pale ale. Hopefully you can find a locally made one, but if not, you'll be able to find some pale ales at the store.
And honestly, you can play around with the recipe. It doesn't have to be a pale ale. You can, if you prefer a more mild beer, you can substitute something else instead.
I'm one of those types who needs the recipe and I have to follow it strictly.
Oh.
So I need somebody like you to lay it all out for me.
Fair enough.
And he is sharing the recipe, by the way. Okay.
And
what kind of cheese did you use?
We used a Boar's Head sharp cheddar and a baby Swiss. You want to use 1 mild cheese and 1 sharp cheese just so you have a more predominant flavor.
That's pretty fancy.
All right, and then we're just going to add that in slow as possible. Try to let it melt down a little bit.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get a big cheese ball in there.
People at home will have more than 2 minutes to get it done.
So once we get all of our cheese incorporated, all of our cheese.
Perfect. I can start working on that.
Sure. We'll let that melt down.
Got it.
And then we're going to add 2 cups of half and half to that. Diet out the window.
Yep, out the window.
That's why it's great when the Packers make the playoffs, because you can just take that whole Christmas binge eating and work it right on through.
Absolutely. Oh, that's looking good.
All right.
Okay.
So once that comes up to a boil, we're going to add some granulated garlic.
Okay.
Half teaspoon.
A little garlic.
Dry mustard powder. Some Worcestershire sauce.
Save some for the Bloody Marys.
And a little salt.
Okay. Did I say that out loud?
Bloody Marys?
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right. So now this will all come together.
Okay.
It'll thicken up nice.
Right.
And we'll end up with something that looks a little more like this.
I don't know if you can see this on this side, but this is what it looks like.
Now,
once it's all boiled and melted.
You can go one of 2 directions at this point. You can leave those chunks of vegetables in there, or you can take an immersion blender if you have one.
Show us that.
And just give your soup a quick buzz. She stands back.
I'm not wearing an apron.
She doesn't want to wear it for the rest of the show. All right.
That is cool. Maybe you got an immersion blender for Christmas. This is a great way to put it to use.
If you don't have an immersion blender, you can use a regular blender. Just make sure that you don't put the top on tight. Put a damp towel over the top, because that steam will pressurize and you'll end up with a kitchen ceiling full of beer cheese.
And what are you doing with this?
And for a little bit of a garnish, you can either just brown up some bacon until it's nice and crispy. You can do diced chicken if you want.
You want to hand me one of those bowls? I'll serve it up.
There you go. Or even, to make it even more of a Wisconsin dish, you can take some bratwurst and brown them up, cut them into chunks, and then add those to it.
Awesome. Well, again, New York Deli is located near the Fox River Mall. On what street?
Castelloma Drive.
Castelloma Drive. And we'll put this recipe on our website, fox11online.com. Click on Good Day Wisconsin. And look at how beautiful that is. I'm going to take a quick taste. And what are you making next hour for us?
Next hour we'll have a Georgia-inspired pulled pork sandwich with a peach ginger sauce.
Sounds awesome. Carl, thank you so much. That is delicious.
Thank you.
Where are you going with that?
Oh, you want to try?
Yeah. We'll be right back. You're watching Good Day Wisconsin. So good.